We live in a multicultural society that recognizes a wide variety of cultures. However, the cultural diversity among the Indigenous populations is often overlooked or not realized. One of the most common mistakes non-Indigenous peoples make when engaging with Indigenous communities is not recognizing the cultural diversity of Indigenous peoples. There is a misconception that First Nations are one homogeneous group who share the same culture, traditions, language, worldviews, needs, and desires. That could not be further from the truth. Indigenous communities in Canada are made up of people from many different cultures and languages. A generic or homogeneous Indigenous peoples of Canada does not exist. That would be like referring to all people from Europe as Europeans. When a Scot is asked, "Where did your ancestors come from?" he will answer, "Scotland." If the questioner responds, "Oh, you're European," the Scot may well be offended. It's no different in Indigenous communities. If your response to, "I'm from Haida Gwaii" is, "Oh, you're Indigenous," you've likely offended the person of Haida ancestry. Ask a German person what Europeans want, and that German person would probably be able to say what Germans want, but not what Europeans want. German interests can be different from other European interests. Similarly, what different Indigenous peoples want will be as varied as the Indigenous language families and communities they come from. Even neighboring communities may not want the same things at the same time. Therefore, you need to tailor your approach to the particular people and community, even in situations where communities are geographically close or seem to have similar organizational structure. In Canada, there are 3 distinct groups of Aboriginal peoples: First Nations, sometimes referred to as Indian, Métis, and Inuit. More than 1.6 million of the almost 37 million people in Canada identify as an Indigenous person. Let's look at the largest group, First Nations. There are over 600 nations and over 2,000 reserves, each with a distinct history that has shaped its particular cultural identity. They also have distinct economies, capacities, and challenges. In British Columbia alone, there's an amazing diversity of First Nations cultures and languages. There are over 200 First Nations communities in the province, each with its unique culture, traditions, and history. These 200 plus communities represent 60% of the First Nations languages spoken in Canada. Did you know that outside of Quebec, English is becoming the common language of Indigenous peoples in Canada? Linguists refer to language families, which are groups of languages that are clearly distinct yet share enough cognate vocabulary to suggest common ancestry and origin. Canada is home to 11 distinct Indigenous language families, 7 of which exist in British Columbia. Each language family is completely distinct. The specific languages within a family may be as similar as French is to Spanish and as different as Czech is to Welsh.